All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Doctor Who. I'm Josh, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Jack.
Hi there. Sorry, the little pause you do between the Doctor and the Who, it just makes me chuckle every time. That's why my delay, like my kind of intro, is so delayed. I'm just sitting there laughing to myself.
How's it going, JP? You all right?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad. I've got to say, I think this is probably. I know we're only 4 episodes in, but this is the one I'm most excited to talk about, to be
Is it
honest, because
really?
yeah, we are doing episode 4 and episode 5. It was a two-parter. We're going to be talking about both of those today, so it's going to be a little bit of an extended podcast. But it made sense, as we said last week, do both of them at the same time. And yeah, I've got to say, I'm excited. I've got a lot to talk about.
I love that. Well, before we jump in, I just want to say thank you to everyone interacting with the Instagrams. We've just started up on Thread, very topical at the minute. So thank you to everyone engaging with us there. Specifically, I'm going to give Raquel a shout out. She's going to be coming on in a few weeks' time. Also, a massive thank you to V. She's currently doing some artworks for us. She's going to be doing it episode by episode as we go on. And her Instagram so that you can go and see is at V's Art, which is VEEESARTT. Thank you very much, V. We really appreciate it. There's another podcast called Bow Ties Are Sometimes Cool. Seems like a pretty good. They do more classic Who stuff than us, but definitely worth giving them a follow. And then Silly Lily and Doctor's Vortex as well. Thanks for the engagement, guys. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the feedback and everything. And yeah, keep it coming. Like, comment, subscribe, follow us wherever you can. We're doing this for you guys. So yeah, we really appreciate your support and engagement, everybody.
Yeah, no, really appreciate it, guys. And as I said, any questions, anything you want us to talk about, want us to do, just let us know. Through Instagram, thread, email, whatever. Just fire them over our way, and we'll pick them up.
But for now, as Jack said, we're looking at episodes 4 and 5, Aliens of London and World War Three. Far away, JP. What did you think?
You know what? I did have very mixed feelings about this, and it's actually more coming from a practical point rather than the actual story.
Okay.
But I've got to say, for a sci-fi story, an alien attack in London that then progresses into just an invasion that's already happened. I mean, look, all I'm saying, Marvel copied the story. This secret invasion, they're billing it as the new thing and everything like that. Look, Doctor Who did it, nearly 20 years ago.
Doctor
So
Who did it first. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Secret Invasion
yeah.
Who.
Yeah, exactly. No, I've got to say, really, really good. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's brilliant. It was really brilliant. I mean, the first note I've got is I clocked that I was assuming that they went back to, they were going to go back to go see Rose's mum, see Mickey, and everything like that. And the first thing is I put that nice to know that London hasn't changed in nearly 20 years. It's still the same architecture that just hasn't changed, which
It
is
is. Well,
which
it
is
hasn't changed for hundreds of years, really, to be fair. What, the Shard has popped up, the Gherkins popped up. I think that's about it, though, really. Let me
yeah,
ask you
pretty
this,
much.
though, JP. This is the least well received episodes of this series, the worst rated, according to IMDb. Do you agree or do you disagree so far?
Probably agree with what I've seen so far. I think it was probably the weaker episode. Like, are we saying it's both 4 and 5, or are we just saying 4?
4 and 5, they're both the two worst reviewed of this season.
I mean, it was a bit almost slapstick in some places, I guess, with the gas exchange and everything, which I could see why, kind of if you like Doctor Who, I can't imagine you're is someone that is watching something to watch, for slapstick purposes. I feel like you're there for more, kind of what I'd call like intelligent humor, something like that.
But it is a
I've got to
kids
say
show,
that
mate. It is a kids show.
it is a kid show. It is a kid show, which is why I think they made all the fat people the aliens. But yeah, what
Oh,
kids don't like fat people?
did you like the subtle social commentary? I didn't pick up on it the first 100 times I've watched it, of fat politicians with hot air inside them, just gas all
Yep,
the time. Yeah, it took me
yep.
ages to pick up on that very subtle bit of social commentary, as I said. Did you get it?
Yeah, no, I got it. I got it. I think it's I mean it's still relevant now to be honest. I reckon we should do a test in there. Just get everybody to eat a raw pickle, like, kind of in a jar. I'm saying at least a third, maybe, you know. But
Well, no, I was actually thinking a similar thing, right? If this was to happen nowadays with the real life government, we don't really have any fat politicians anymore, to be fair, do we? Do you reckon they'd fit inside Boris?
probably Boris, yeah, definitely Boris. Definitely not Jacob Rees-Mogg because
No, definitely not. Definitely
he's
not.
a beanpole. You know, you're not fitting a hamster in him.
Well, he's
You know,
definitely a
that's not gonna.
different species of alien. Yeah, that's for sure.
Don't. Yeah. Who else? To be honest, Diane Abbott. Definitely Diane Abbott. Oh dear. No. Who else? Who else? I'd say Boris. Definitely Boris Johnson. I try I don't really know any more politicians. Keir
Ian
Starmer.
Duncan Smith,
Pretty.
is it? Somewhere. I think Scotland's definitely got a few fatter. I don't even know if he is Scottish, actually, but definitely Scotland's got the fatter MPs, I would say.
I don't know. I mean, admittedly, I don't actually watch a lot of, kind of politics on TV. It's important, but it's not the kind of thing that I'm watching TV for. So I only know people that kind of make fuck ups and end up on the front page of a newspaper, and I walk past and go, "Oh, look at that guy," there could be, but no, I thought it was a very, very interesting story, but there was a few minor things that did kind of irk me, and I can see why, if you're a fan of kind of clean cut stuff, why that might be not, why it wouldn't have been as well received as something else.
Do you want to start with that stuff or start with the good stuff?
Let's start with that stuff. We'll get the bad stuff out of the way, and then we'll finish on the good stuff. Always finish on a high. So I mean, the main thing for me is it was just like it was really, really weird because it was just everything was so like security was so lax. It was just like, and I go right from the start. Like we're right from the start, they're in the hospital, and you got all these people going back and forward, and you're like, all right, so we've got this alien species that's come down, we've transported the body, everything like that, and you got the doctor there with no gloves, no mask, no nothing like that. She's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm just like, surely, so and just anyone could walk in. I know he was like the general or something like that, but it was just like, and then the doctor turns up, and I know the doctor's very, kind of charismatic, and he's very, you almost get a feeling that this guy knows what he's talking about. But you've got these guys that, the soldiers there, they're supposed to be
Yeah.
I'm assuming the most highly trained. And then he just pops up in the middle of their smoke break and he just goes, right, let's Delta plan, let's go. And then they just get
Yeah,
up and
Delta
follow.
Plan D, which is just run down a corridor.
Yeah, and I'm just like, yeah, it's just incredible. Yeah, it's very, very, and the bit where the actual where they're chasing them through Downing Street, and they're
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
oh,
mate, there's some
don't go
ropey
upstairs,
CGI there. Yeah.
and it's just like,
Oh, yeah, with the soldiers. Yeah, yeah,
surely there'd be like loads of noise upstairs, and as a serving police officer or a close protection officer, you go, maybe I should go investigate up there.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah,
It's
I think
just,
there's a lot of hand waving to be done in these episodes.
yeah, no, definitely, definitely, and it was, it was literally just, I mean, yeah, where was it? I put, I just, yeah, where did I put? I just said, yeah, security is bad. Nobody looks in the car. There's just so many things in those two episodes that are convenient for the plot, and the
Yeah.
only reason they happen is to just further the plot. And it's not too bad if you do, a few subtle things, like going back to episode 2 with the ID card he shows them. It's just I can't remember what did he call it? The ID card that's just everything. It's just whatever you need. It is.
Oh, the psychic paper.
That's it. Psychic papers. Something like that. A universal translator, even the sonic screwdriver. It's just a plot device that just helps carry the story along. So one
Yeah.
isn't bad, but when you've pretty much got not one but two episodes based on plot, kind of things that happen to
Yeah.
further the plot.
Convenience. Yeah.
Yeah, it just I don't know. It almost seemed a bit forced, but yeah, I think that was it. So what should we do? Should we go through the good parts and then go chronologically, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, do it. I mean, just touching on a few points that you've raised already. The doctor that wasn't wearing any PPE, she comes back as a main character in the Torchwood TV series. Uh,
Really?
yeah, so actually, to our listeners, let us know if you want to do Torchwood when we get there, because we could do one episode Torchwood, one episode Doctor Who, like as it releases simultaneously. That I would quite like to go through that with you. That Torchwood's fucking scary shit, man. compared to this. Like, it still scares me.
Really?
Yeah, it's brutal, mate. Gory as hell. Um,
Ooh.
oh, there was one. Oh, and so the soldiers, right? Unit.
Hmm.
He calls them the United Nations Intelligence Task Force, right?
Unit. Yep. Yep.
In every other series, it's called the Unified Intelligence Task Force because the United Nations complained apparently that they were using their name without their permission. They had to change it from United Nations to Unified. How funny is that?
Wow, that's the only like actual thing that the United Nations have done that have had any kind of
Yeah,
effect or
exactly. Yeah.
anything. Wow, they complained about a Doctor Who episode and that. Do you reckon there was one guy at the United Nations that was just sent here at the time? It probably would have been sent around by email, wouldn't it? And they were just like, lads, we've been mentioned on the on Doctor Who. Like, what do you think of this? And then they're just one of the high ups of the United Nations walked past and was like, nope, I'm not having any of this. Right, who do I know at the BBC? That's it.
Yeah.
That's quite funny actually.
No, it's quite.
What a bore though. Like, I just,
I
yeah,
know, innit? How
very
fucking cool
strange.
is United Nations? How uncool are
Oh dear.
they? Right,
Yeah,
I have
no,
one other
exactly.
question for you as well. Rose's hair. Did you notice her weird little Jedi Padawan braid that she had throughout this?
I did. You know
Mate,
what?
it
That's
was
one
the
of the points I
most
put down.
distracting thing I've ever seen.
I mean, there was nothing in the episode about it. Is it something that is explained further down the line, or is that just it just was there?
Maybe that's the series running Easter egg that I've just given you a hint to.
She just actually slowly, like in the final episode of season 1 of Doctor Who, she actually comes out looking like Princess Leia at the end of Return of the Jedi. There's just like a load of Ewoks that are just hidden in the set, and they're just like, that is the hidden alien species. It's the Ewoks who are really, for some reason, good at plaiting hair.
It
There you
just,
go.
I'd never noticed it before. And in line with that, I never knew the Slovene had a little tail as well. That's something that I'd never, ever in a million years have picked up on. And I was
Yeah,
like, shit, they've got tails. What the fuck?
huh. I mean, they were based on lizards. I mean, I quite liked how they when they blinked. Or here we go. Here's a question: is it blinked or blunk?
Oh, it's got to
Whichever
be
one it
bleak,
is.
right?
Blinked. I don't know. Blinked or blunk. Anyway, whenever they blinked, it went kind of like the slit was vertical rather than horizontal,
Yeah.
proper like a lizard. I like that. I think that was quite cool. They had a really weird, like kind of almost like a baby face, like with the the really chubby cheeks and everything. That was a bit of a weird design, but
I really
yeah, I
like the
thought they.
design. Yeah. Are you a fan or?
Yeah, no, I am. It's weird, wonderful. It's everything you want from an alien species, really.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that they come back. Actually, in this series, they come back, I think.
Well, yeah, they're bargain hunters. They can't get retribution.
Can you remember the planet that they're from, JP? This always comes up in Doctor Who quizzes and stuff.
No, in all honesty, I can't.
I think it's
God, what's it called?
Raxacora Cephalopatorius. And I hate that I know that. I hate how much of a geek this podcast is outing me to be, but
I tell you what, though, remind me the next time we go to a Doctor Who theme podcast, I'm just going to have you just on speakerphone on the table, and I'll be like, right, Josh, over to you. This is it. This is your time to shine. It's yeah, no, because that's right. Because there's a really interesting thing. I know we're skipping ahead, but it's that really interesting thing when they're trying to narrow it down.
yes,
And
yes, great bit, great bit.
yeah, I thought that was very cool. But yeah, so yeah, no. So should we start chronologically and go through
Yeah,
the?
fire away, JP.
Yeah, of course. So the interesting thing is, for me, I wondered because of course I know you mentioned about the Easter eggs and everything. And he was like an example you gave was there was someone trying to contact the Doctor throughout the season, and I wondered if because there's a kid right at the start that graffitis "Bad Wolf" onto the TARDIS.
Yes.
And of course, at the end of the episode, or the end of the second episode, the kid's cleaning it off while the Doctor's there watching him.
Yeah, which I
But
quite love.
I mean, yeah, it's the best way to do it. You definitely learn from your mistakes and everything. But I wondered if that potentially could have been like Bad Wolf, as in some kind of alien wolf thing. But then the fact that they cleaned it off at the end made me think, oh, maybe not. If it had been more significant, they probably would have kept it or only shown it once. But yeah, very interesting that they messed up with the time. They went a year later as opposed to 10 seconds or a minute later or whatever
That's
it
a
was.
really interesting concept, right?
Yeah, I mean, it makes it's just very, I mean, again, it's how time works, really, isn't it? They could go off for what is perceived as Rose and the Doctor for 5 years and then come back and it was only gone 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I think that's the coolest thing. That's the thing I really couldn't get my head around, And again, how the second episode ended, it was like, wow, that makes sense. They literally could come back 10 seconds later, and then they could have had 6 seasons worth of content.
Adventures,
You know
yeah.
that
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
that's it. So I like that. I've got to say though, Rose's mum had the best line in any episode so far, where she goes up and she's like, "You're a doctor, stitch this," and then just absolutely slaps the doctor. And I just like that is brilliant. I'm now going to start using that in my life because I feel like that is something I need to, if you're a doctor, stitch this.
Yeah,
But
that's quality, isn't it?
yeah, I think we found that the Doctor is nine. No, hold on. Someone I put looking good for 900 years old. No, it was the Doctor is 900 years old. It was the Doctor. It was established that he's 900 years old. Um, I'm not sure. You may have to correct me on this one, but is I mean, does he count when he regenerates? Because I know that he regenerates. That's something I know.
It is.
Does that go
It's
on?
completely unknown. He's throughout like Eccleston and Tennant is pretty consistent. His age, he tends to be pretty consistent. And then when Moffat takes over, it's just all over the place. He's been alive for 1,000 years, 900 years, 10, like all over the place. So his
Okay.
age isn't really a thing. But yeah, throughout Russell's era, he tends to keep on referring to himself as about 900 years old.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, so it's not. I mean, does that count in the regeneration stuff? Like, say if he regenerates, he still counts him. So he doesn't start from one again, or does he start from one again?
I don't know. That might be actually a good way around it because every doctor does give different, like it's so inconsistent. Maybe that is the
Yeah.
answer. But yeah, it's never sort of, or to date, it hasn't really been revealed yet. But yeah, I
There
think
you
for
go.
the purpose of these series, he's about 900 years old. Can we speak
Yeah.
that
There you
bit
go.
when he's on the rooftop with Rose and they're talking about the age and everything? I love
Yeah.
that she just goes, "You're so gay." I'm like, "Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a 20-year-old TV program. Yeah, I remember now."
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things, you watch, and I know that things have kind of moved on and everything for the better, may I add. But you do get now and again, it's just like you almost like wince, didn't you? You just think, oh yeah, that's especially the BBC as well. You just
But
think,
that
I
threw
was just
me.
like,
That threw me because Russell is gay. Russell is like a big activist in the gay community, and he's gay himself. So I looked up, and there's an interview where he says he just included it because that's how people spoke back then. Like, you
well,
know,
yeah, I mean,
not an insult. That's just people would say that if you came like. We were at school at this time. If you'd have come in with like a bright pink rucksack or something, we'd have gone, "Hey, look at you. That's gay." If you did something
yeah.
uncool, it would be gay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very, I mean, kind of without deviating too much, only Fools and Horses actually, kind of portrayed this the best. Because if you watch some of the first kind of episodes in The Only Fools and Horses, they do use some, terms, and they do use language today that isn't appropriate now.
Yes.
However, as time went on, because of course Only Fools and Horses ran for a while, and I'm assuming this is the same with Doctor Who as well. As it went on, of course, things changed, and what people couldn't say and everything like that kind of progressed. You then notice that they actually tailor the characters the way that they speak. Like they'd actually speak like someone that was
Yes.
there and then, rather than speaking like someone that was in the past and going, oh well, we're just keeping up tradition and everything. They progress the characters forward with the times,
Yeah,
which I
especially
think
when you've got
is
a character
yeah.
like Del Boy who is so desperate to fit in with whatever's cool at the time. Yeah, it totally makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, that's it. That's it. And again, it's one of those things like, us looking back in 2005, at 2005, people would have said that all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just a common thing, and it's just, I mean, look, it's not, put it this way, it's not the end of the world because it could just be that, actually it's a compliment, but at the same time, it's probably not. If I was going to head for a bet, she'd probably use that as an insult rather than a compliment. But
Yeah.
hey, is what it is. Yeah.
So that how good does that crash look as well though?
Yeah, I mean the CG, like I've got to say the CGI for the spaceship going through Big Ben was very good. I've got to say for a BBC series that didn't have the biggest budget in the world, you can tell that they went, they just they went all in, and they went, look, we're going to make this a big CGI thing. We're going to try and get as many people in as possible, and then further down the line we'll try and keep them in. And I've got to say, it looks incredible. The only weird thing is though, when the spaceship crashed, I'm sure it made a truck horn noise.
Yeah, I did pick up on that as well, to be fair.
And of course, watching the series, I mean, I've had to take a few notes out of, kind of out of my notes because, it was just like there was a few things I was like, oh, well, what, why didn't the spaceship just land in the river before? Of course, further down the line you find out it's an entire plot, and that's why it didn't.
Yes.
But it was just like things like that. But the only thing I couldn't work out is I was like, these aliens, they've got all of this, kind of access to intergalactic technology, and yet they put a truck horn on a crashing spaceship. Couldn't work that one out, but anyway. So that's yeah. So that's that. But yeah. No, the only thing that actually, in fact, I didn't actually have time to do it, but the army pull up when the first when the spaceship crashes, everything goes into lockdown. The in inverted commas, the crack team of soldiers turn up, and there's a number on the side of a truck, which is they don't really do it anymore, or at least I've not seen it. But like sometimes they're like, oh, how's my driving, and you get a little number on there. Well, one of them turned up on the side, and it had that on the side. And I was like, is that a thing that they'd actually would have put on a truck, or was that just that they borrowed someone's truck and they couldn't like paint it over or something?
Good question. Yeah, good question. You didn't call
Yeah.
it, no?
Didn't call it because it was an 0800 number, and to be honest, it's 0800 numbers are expensive
You're
nowadays.
not ready to invest in the podcast that much yet.
Oh well, I mean, like, if anybody's listening that wants to sponsor, then enable me to ring an 0800 number to find out it's just actually a number that doesn't work. Please feel free. But no, in all honesty, I didn't have time. I just ran out of time because the problem is I wanted to watch the 2 episodes as close together as possible
Yeah.
because I didn't want to leave as much time. I wanted to go straight off the bat. And I literally only did it a couple of days ago, so I haven't really had time to kind of. It's just like I've got to get the episodes watched, got to watch them, and as I said, wanted to watch them back to back, which I'm glad I did. In fairness,
Yeah. No, good. I just want to say as well, the Big Ben thing, not CGI. They use miniatures and they smashed the miniature. That's how they did it.
really,
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. No CGI for that Big Ben crash.
that's interesting because that didn't look like. I wouldn't have said, cause, like so again. I know that time has passed on since the original Star Wars films, but you can tell that they're miniatures.
Yes.
The way they move, it's very stop motion and everything like that. But that Big Ben and the spaceship didn't actually look like kind of figurines or anything. They fair play to them. They've done that really well then.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks really cool. Right. So moving on, what did you think of like all the news reports and everything?
Brilliant. Blue Peter was on there as well. You gotta love it. An old style 2005 style Blue Peter. I love it. I think that's brilliant. And again, it's how I remember the news being like back in like 2005. That
Yeah.
was the thing. I mean, nowadays when they're like kind of kind of shipping a body away from a scene or something like that, they put screens up and everything. But like back then, they the journalists were everywhere. They were like, yeah, go on, I'm gonna hide in a bin or like literally go and
Yeah.
climb
Yeah.
a crane or so just to get the shot. And then of course they get the shot and they'd be like, yeah, put it on TV. That's fine. Nobody's ever gonna get that kind of emotional trauma for that or anything.
I love the
But,
idea that they just left the nearest bridge open and you've just got the punters on this bridge, you've
yeah,
got news
yeah.
teams on the bridge. I'm like, come on, that would so not happen if that was the
Oh
case.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Especially when London's like completely. I mean, London's gridlocked at the best of times, but the fact that they couldn't drive anywhere, it's just like, how did so many people get on the bridge then?
Yeah. Yeah. So
You just
yeah.
imagine this.
Oh, go on, mate.
I was gonna say, there's one newscaster running along, and he's just like, look, the taxi stopped, we got to go, and he's just running along with his cameraman behind him, just legging it through the streets of London to make it to the bridge. But yeah, it did make me chuckle.
So this will make you laugh. The reason that whenever you see the news or Blue Peter and stuff, it's like a filming of a TV rather than like the news report actually being on the screen is because
Mhm.
there's a law or there was a law in place at the time where you couldn't like in an entertainment show you couldn't broadcast a fake news because there was a fear that people would believe it was real. So the way to get around it was you'd have to film it on the telly.
On the
I
TV, yeah.
fucking love that. It's just the most ridiculous rule I've ever fucking heard. But I think they work around it really cool when you've got the doctor wrestling that little kid for the remote and just nonsense. But I love it.
That's right, because the little kid changes it over to Blue Peter on the TV, which
Yeah.
is, yeah. But I mean, you know what though? The scary thing is, I think that's actually probably for the best. because especially in this day and age as well, it wouldn't take someone 10 seconds to walk past the TV, see kind of a knockoff of the BBC News saying about an alien spaceship has crash landed, and then before you know it, that's trending on Twitter or now Thread, or Twitter,
Now,
trending on Thread.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's no, that's it. But it's so creative the way they got around it. So creative. I like that. It's that's good. That's good.
Right. What the fuck? How did nobody call Mickey when Rose came back? The poor man is just putting his shoes out. He's been called in for questioning for a murder suspect 5 times or however many it is. He comes back and nobody fucking calls him.
No, see, I think this was established further in when the Slovene police inspector goes to Rose's mum, and then Mickey comes in and saves her.
Yeah.
I think it was established that she still believed that Mickey was responsible for her going missing.
Yeah, but she knows about the. Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right. To be fair,
Because I'm not saying that she thought that he murdered her, but I'm pretty sure that she was like I think he says to her or something like now do you believe me or something like that. So I think that's the reason why nobody called him, was
that would
because
make
Rose's mum was like, I don't want anything to do with him. I mean, it could be a guilt thing, could have felt guilty, but yeah, that's the way I saw that anyway.
fair enough, mate. What else have you got in your notes, lad? I'll be honest with
So
you. I
go
love
on.
this episode, but I found myself struggling to pay attention through this. I don't know if it's because I've seen it too many times or if I just wasn't in the right frame of mind. But I was a bit like, oh, this could probably have been one episode. I think there's a lot of filler throughout this. So my notes aren't that extensive through this one, if I'm being honest with you.
We must have watched different episodes then, because honestly, I know it was 2 episodes, but these are the longest notes I've ever written.
No,
The
I
next
love
thing I've
the
got.
episode. I just found it a bit like, oh, nothing's really happening. Do you know what I mean?
No, in fairness, I get that, because a lot of my notes are actually gripes, like small gripes at just like different bits and pieces. So, of course, the next one, why does nobody wear PPE?
Yeah.
I actually wonder what our alien protocols are, because they go upstairs with the red briefcase, which
Yeah.
I thought was I thought that was a tax thing. I'm not gonna lie. When when the chancellor always stands outside with the red briefcase, I thought that was a tax thing, but maybe it's the alien protocol, and they say it's tax to kind of Um, next thing. Oh yeah. So the next thing that I put, the Doctor has spare keys for the TARDIS.
Yeah.
A great idea, but I just why does he have spare keys for the TARDIS?
Because he's a player. He's got to give all his companions keys. Yeah, of course.
But yeah, but this to me, this is the first companion he's had.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's an interesting thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Obviously it was running throughout the 80s and from the 60s.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's always been a different companion. The Doctor's a slut, man.
I'm not sure Russell T Davies quite had that when he, kind of when he was writing down. He was just like, yeah, the Doctor's a proper slut on this one. But
I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised if he did. He just nonchalantly hands over a spare key to his TARDIS and then fucks off anyway. Like that meant nothing handed over that key, I don't think.
no, I suppose it was more. I suppose it's like when you again you live in where you live, you don't really have pubs, but back in the UK, we have this thing where if you go to like a pub that's got a darts board or something, they'll have darts behind the bar, and in order to get that, you have to leave a deposit. Now, if you don't actually have cash, you can leave like a watch or something like that, and they'll put it in the tub thing that goes there. And to me, it almost felt like a deposit. It was like, yeah, I'm coming back. Don't worry about it. Here's some keys, which did make me laugh. But yeah, so that's no, just Doctor of spare keys. Aliens have landed. People start having a party.
I think, yeah,
I
I
mean,
think we'd probably do the same thing, wouldn't we?
I don't know. I normally party. I mean, you have a party to celebrate things, yeah. But you don't know if they're friendly or not yet. If they come down and they're like, "We're really friendly. Here's all this technology. We want to share this. We want to do this. We want to do that," and yeah, by all means, go out celebrate. It's brilliant. But uh, they knew nothing about it. It was just a spaceship some kind of craft landed in the Thames, and then people are like, let's get on it. I know it doesn't take a lot of people, a lot for people in London to get on it, but
Mate,
I don't know. It just seemed a bit weird.
I 100% reckon if an alien spaceship landed anywhere in the world, and the news is doing like a live broadcast of it, and it's a Saturday or something like that, I guarantee you, I'd be on the if I was still living in,
Oh yeah.
I'd be on the blower to all of you, and I'd be like, lads, get some beers. I've got the live stream up. Let's see how this fucking plays out.
I suppose like a watch party kind of thing. Yeah, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, no, that makes sense actually, like a watch party. Yeah, okay.
Right,
Yeah,
come on,
fair
boys.
enough.
I've got the barbecue on outside. Let's see how this all plays out.
Let's go.
If they
Yeah,
blow up the
everyone's
world
there.
now, let's all go out together at a barbecue. Do you know what I mean?
And just hope
Presumably
we're the right.
everything's closed as well. Like you'd like to think you'd get a day off if aliens landed. What else are you going to be doing?
Yeah. In fact, well, I work in London, so I'd probably be looking out for the office window going, oh, look at that. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
true.
I feel like that's the I can live stream it for everyone. I could be like, there you go. That's my new
Yeah,
job. Just be a cameraman. Like the little girl, you know, in Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire, the
yeah.
little girl.
Yes, yes.
She and he goes over and he's just like, oh, how much for the camera? And she's like, oh, $10. And then he tries to take a photo and she's like, the film's extra. That'd be me. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I can stream it, but it's gonna cost you. But, yeah, so that's So the party, okay, yeah, potentially a watch party. The thing I loved about the TARDIS in this episode, though, is the Doctor says, "Oh, I'm just going for a wander." Jumps in the TARDIS. The TARDIS starts misbehaving. He hits it with a hammer. Starts working.
Yeah, I
Right?
love
I
that.
love it.
Kiss the hammer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, who hasn't fixed something by hitting it with, just hitting it before? I mean, old TVs, radios.
Oh, it's classic
In fact,
Jeremy Clarkson. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
in fact, you once fixed my car as well by hitting it into the curb.
Yes,
Do you remember?
intentionally. Yes, yes, intentionally in the
No,
middle
not
of the car
intentionally. You
parks.
took the
Yes.
handbrake. For those that are listening, well, I'll elaborate. So I had an old car and it had the speedometer, the arrow was a little bit wobbly. So when you drove it, it actually wobbled a little bit. So you knew you were doing, kind of you were traveling between, kind of 5 and 10 miles an hour. It's just whichever one was anyone's guess. And we're in a car park one night, and we've gone to the McDonald's, and Josh is sat in my car, and he takes the handbrake off while I'm out of my car,
I'd like
and
to
I see
comment.
my car.
I'd just
Go
like
go
to
on in.
interject. I used to work at Halford, so I know how to fix things.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, there we go. So I'm stood outside of my car, obviously going to the bin to put the rubbish in, and I turn around and I see my car. Well, I'm parked on a slope as well, and I see my car just start rolling, going towards the curb. And of course, I honestly, it felt like that scene from The Inbetweeners where he starts running and he's just like, my car, like, and he's running. And I see my car, like the wheels, like luckily it was just the wheels that hit the curb, but of course the wheels like hit the curb in front. And
Very
I wasn't
gently.
best. Well, yeah, well, I wasn't best pleased at the time. I get in the car, go to drive off, and I noticed that the speedometer arrow is dead straight and does not wobble anymore. So that's probably the best story of hitting something and it actually works.
Yeah, and
It's
the
it's
legend that
proven.
I am fixed your car.
Yeah, and you pretended that you worked at Halfords for all that time. So yeah, so hitting it with a hammer, I love that. I think it's I feel like it's the Doctor's character. I feel like Christopher Eccleston is kind of going across, like he's coming across as that kind of chaotic Doctor, and
Oh,
chaotic
you
in a
ain't
good
seen
sense.
nothing yet. You wait until David Tennant, mate. He whacks that thing like he's beating himself off. It's the worst analogy I've ever used. But yeah.
I was going to say, not saying I thought I'd hear when I woke up this morning, but hey, it is what it is.
Right.
Now,
Let's
I
keep it
know that
moving, JP.
we'll keep it moving. So I know that we're in now the day of the GDPR and everything like that, and it's the 4 letters that everybody just detests. But it made me laugh. The first thing I thought of, they leave the protocol, and you've got
Yes.
the you got the MP Harriet that's walking around, and she just finds the brief. And I know they're aliens, but she just finds the briefcase just on the table, unlocked. And it's like, one, why wouldn't you lock the room? Two, why would you leave it in an unopened, like an unlocked suitcase? Like it just doesn't seem like. And
Because
again, I'm
they're
picking holes.
aliens. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. The next quick thing I had was, why were so many of the soldiers on the break at the same, on break at the same time?
Oh, yes, when they go to the hospital thing.
Exactly that. Yeah, and kind of walks in, and then he's just there, and he's just like, right, yeah, and then there's a scream, and then they go for Delta Plan.
That hospital, by the way, keep your eye on that. Albion Hospital, not a real hospital, but does come up again this season.
Interesting. Okay, in a good way or a bad way?
Uh, I don't know. just in a way.
In a way, interesting,
In a way.
interesting.
What did you think of Harriet Jones, MP for Fly Down North?
I thought she was like Liz Truss.
Oh no, she's better than Liz Truss, man.
I just feel like I was getting very Liz Truss vibes from her while she's going around. And I will say though that Harriet Jones in the end of the episode actually took the ball by the horns and went, "This is how we're doing it," whereas Liz Truss fell apart like the cabbage that she was, or no, sorry, the lettuce that she was compared to. We're very political in this one, aren't we?
Yeah, we
Um,
do. Harriet
we
Jones
are.
is a recurring character, and she has one of the best arcs of Doctor Who, I reckon.
I've got to say, I really liked it because the first introduction you get of her, she know. I mean, it did slightly annoy me, and I do. It does happen to me sometimes at work that an alien has literally landed on Earth, and she's like, "Look, yeah, but how about this private hospital? Like, how about we get this hospital?" And it's like, I get it's important to her, and I like her tenacity, but at the same time, you're like, there's bigger fish to fry at this point. But
But also,
hey,
what
look,
happens after the alien invasion? We can't put all this stuff on hold just because some aliens. Business has to carry on as normal.
yeah, but I'm not saying that you go, yeah, but you put that kind of thing on the back burner for something that's dealt with after the event, maybe just as But I like her tenacity though. I think she was, just the whole bit where she's like snooping around and then she hides in the cupboard and she's listening. I really thought that was quite cool. I did like that, and of course that's the actress whose name I now can't remember. She plays Sean's mum in Shaun of the Dead,
She does, yeah, 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 yeah. She does. She does.
which I really like. I just think she's just it's brilliant. Oh, if Phil's gone, where's he gone? It's
Yeah.
just brilliant. I love it. I love it. I think it's good. But yeah, no, that's it. I've got to say the fake alien was a bit weird.
But it's a fake. I think it works perfectly as a fake alien.
Yeah, I mean, it did. Again, one of a lot of notes I made, I actually deleted because one of the notes, another note I made, I said like, why a pig? Like, it just with a pig's head. Like, I was like, that's not very creative of Doctor Who. Of course, it was a fake, and further down. So yeah, things like that I actually really liked. It was like, it kept you guessing the entire time.
Did you pick up
Um,
on the whole thing that it was an invasion, or was it sort of because it like there are obviously when you look back there are the clues. Okay, why would it crash into Big Ben? Why is it a pig? But it's not really like you're not really led to believe that it's an internal invasion. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of Mickey that
yeah,
actually comes up with it. Did you pick up on it before the story, or as it
no,
unfolded?
no. The only thing that I kind of picked on that was a bit strange was they were laughing. The three Severians were laughing about
Yeah,
something that had gone up, and I was like, "Oh, that's a bit weird. I wonder if they've got some kind of connection." But I genuinely thought it was at the time. I thought it was like a rival alien race or something like that, rather than a complete decoy.
yeah, nice. I got you.
Um, yeah, but no, as a first time watcher, it was like, oh, that's a bit weird. And then as the story progressed, it was like, oh, actually, it was a decoy. And I'm like, I like that. That's good. That's good. So yeah, the little pig thing was a bit weird. I, do I think that a fully trained soldier would maybe gun down the alien thing running at him? Mm, maybe. I'd
Why
probably do
wouldn't
the
you?
same thing.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's just very strange, very strange. But I've got to say, I did like how the doctor reacted to that. He's like,
Yes.
"Why did you do that?" He was just scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a fair point. If you, I mean, you put the shoe on the other foot, and if you crash land on a random planet and you've got random people, and you just wouldn't know what to do, would you?
No, I
You
agree.
you
I
just
agree.
run. But yeah, no. So I really liked how the doctor showed a lot of compassion, in that point, and I wonder if he's picked that up from Rose for the last episode.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Yeah, I like that. The next thing we then cut back to Mickey, who makes a return, and I've got to say, I think Mickey was actually acting reasonably in this episode.
I agree with you. To be fair, if you put yourself in Mickey's shoes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I think he was. I could see they were trying to make it look like that Mickey was overbearing and he was too like that kind of thing. But I know I think the way he acted and the things he said was spot on. That's the reasonable reaction to have of a situation like that. Your girlfriend at the time goes missing for a year. You know what's happened, but who's going to believe you?
Yeah,
No one's
exactly.
going to believe you, are they? So I do think that that he was actually acting reasonably. The next thing is, of course, she makes the call. Rose's mum makes the call about the doctor. She
Oh, I
phones in on the
love that
alien
bit.
helpline, and I had to laugh. They just had the red alert thing for the doctor,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
just made me chuckle. I was just like, "That's brilliant." You can imagine there's a kind of a call center at the time, and she's just typing it away, and then suddenly the computer just comes up, and it's just like red alert, doctor, and I was just like, "Yeah, no, it really made me chuckle." But that made me laugh, which was good. I, I got to say, the weirdest thing I found about this episode, and it is the coolest thing as well,
yeah.
but the way that they de-skinned themselves, the Severians.
Oh, the Slovenes.
Is it Slovenes?
Slovene. Yeah. And they're not, so the Slovene is the family name, not the alien race.
What's the alien race called?
I don't know. That's a
No,
good
in fact,
question. If you know,
I
leave
don't
it in
think
the
they.
comments.
Yep, there you go. That's one. Yeah, no, the way they de-skinned themselves, I thought was
Scary shit, yeah.
pretty gruesome, to be honest. Pretty gruesome. And the thing that really, when they hung them up as well, when they had like a little meeting and they
Yeah,
just hung them up in a
yeah.
cloakroom, it was just like, that's very weird. But yeah, no, I thought that was, again, as a kid, you can see that that's the kind of thing that's going to traumatize you. But
Yeah, that's a cool, that whole skin suit thing is a very cool effect, to be fair.
yeah, no, exactly. The other thing that I put is, of course, then the doctor gets arrested, and Rose's mum and Mickey, they're out there and doing the usual thing, like yeah, they're being pulled away and kept back. Mickey is lucky that he didn't get shot by the most
He just licks
incompetent.
it. I
He
love
just
that.
licks it. And I'm like, you're literally showing the exact same, like, kind of brand of the army that just shot point blank shot an alien species dead because it was running at him. I'm like, these guys have just got itchy trigger fingers.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
lucky he didn't end up with two in the back. Like, but of course, very glad that he didn't. Yeah, no, I was just saying, I just put it was just like, okay, that was a bit weird. Um, the whole thing with the Prime Minister.
He's just in the cupboard.
He's just in the cupboard. I'm sorry, but like the Prime Minister goes missing. Surely someone had to go in that cupboard at some point.
You would think, right? You would think. But I suppose
Like,
spaceship crash lands, you probably, like you said, priorities, right?
yeah, but your Prime Minister's missing though. Like, surely there is something significant in that cupboard that you actually need to get, if that makes sense. Even if it's something like a pen, like you'd open the cupboard and go, "Huh, there's the Prime Minister's body." Like, maybe call it in. I don't know. It just seemed a very weird thing that they just had it there. And of course, then they explained that the reason they didn't mimic him was because he was too slim, and they can only go inside people that are fat, which did make me chuckle. Did make me chuckle.
So that
Um,
that prime minister was supposed to be Tony Blair, and Harriet Jones even says at one point, like, "Oh, I'm not one of his babes," which apparently Blair's babes was a thing back in the time. They actually
yeah,
hired, so the guy that plays the prime minister, the dead prime minister, they hired a Tony Blair lookalike, and they were going to run with it. It was going to be Tony Blair, but the lookalike showed up, and they were apparently so disappointed that he didn't look enough like Tony Blair that they just dropped that plot thread completely. I love that.
oh, imagine having to write that on your CV. I look like Tony Blair. You turn up to the job interview and they're like, "Nope,
You're not
you
good enough.
don't look."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, where'd you go in your career progression from there? Like, how'd you come back from that one?
I
That's
don't know. I'd
that's
love to know what that guy is doing. If we could
that
get
is a
him on as
real.
a guest, that would be brilliant.
I genuinely, I'd love to know how you then tailor your career from there. I mean, you kind of committed to one role. You put all your eggs in one basket. But yeah, at the end, and then of course they end the episode. Things start getting a little bit more tasty, which I thought was really good. I think it was, I tell you what, I'm glad that I could watch it back to back, because having to wait a week in between the two episodes, that must have sucked, because they
Well,
really finished episode 4 on stakes are high. This is it. Where does it go from there?
what stakes are high at the end of the episode until you see the next time trailer, though, right?
I didn't watch the next time trailer on that point.
Interesting, right? So, big controversy. This is the only series where the next time trailer plays before the credits, because
Okay.
this episode in the next time trailer, I believe from memory, they show exactly how the doctor gets out of that situation, how they all get out of the situation. And it received so many complaints from the next series onwards, they pushed the next time trailers to after the credits.
Interesting. Okay. Oh, I should have watched it then. Because again, I felt like I didn't want to. The reason I didn't watch the next time is because I didn't want to spoil. I I wouldn't have assumed it would have spoiled it much anyway. But that's the reason I didn't watch it, because I was like,
Yeah,
no, I want to go into episode 5 fresh. Nothing. I don't want to watch it next time for the continuation of the story. That's very interesting. That is.
yeah, big
I mean,
controversy.
surely, because the whole point of a next time or a trailer or something like that is you want people to tune in. I say tune in because it was 2005, but you want people to tune in to watch that, and the only way you're going to do that is to leave them guessing, not give them
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, very interesting, very interesting. So, of course, the next thing is, of the episode 5. The doctor says this is never going to work. He kind of comes up with a plan that's never going to work. Would you believe the doctor?
I don't know, because I do get the feeling that he's just winging it most of the time.
Yeah, that I mean, it's a big thing. I've got to say, in terms of plans, firing a missile at number 10 Downing Street wasn't exactly what I had in mind. But yeah, I mean, would you believe him? I mean, you're Rose's mum. You got to put yourself in her shoes. Your daughter's gone missing for a year. She turns up again with this very strange man, and she's like, "Oh, I've been traveling everywhere," and all that. Would you? I mean, for me, I probably would, because the fact that he brought her back in one piece, to me, that obviously shows me that he knows what he's doing, if that makes sense.
But then he also cocked up the whole 12 hours, 12-month thing. So is that going to throw some doubt? And again, like, Jackie still doesn't know anything really. I mean, by this point, she's been in the TARDIS, so she's got an understanding of
Yep,
that. But and then to have this man fire a missile, and they luck out by surviving as well. The doctor writes themselves off. It's only Rose that says, right, let's get in this cupboard. It's the safest place in an
that's
earthquake.
right. Yeah, yeah. But he doesn't actually say the plan to Rose. He doesn't say the plan to Jackie, does he? He just says, "Oh, look, this is," yeah, because they got her on speakerphone, haven't they?
I'll be honest, I didn't watch all of the second episode because, like I said, I love these episodes, but I just couldn't engage with it this week for some reason.
Unbelievable,
I know, so my
unbelievable.
memory's a little bit hazy.
Yeah, so they're on the phone. They've got Mickey on speakerphone,
Yeah.
and he says, "Look, I've got a plan, but it's risky. Do you trust me? It might not work." And but he doesn't actually kind of go into detail with what the plan is. He just says, "I've got a plan." That's it. So very, very sketchy. But look, probably the best that he didn't tell Jackie that he was going to fire a missile at exactly where they were, and just go, "Yeah, that'll do." But yeah, going on to Rose's mom, Jackie, and Mickey. Something I thought that was quite nice about a kind of a character development with Mickey was Jackie says to Mickey about fixing her up a drink. She said, "Oh, I could really do with a drink and everything." And Mickey refuses to give her alcohol. He says, "No, I'll make you a cup of tea instead." Now, going back to the very first episode,
Yeah.
Rose,
Yeah.
of course, Mickey is like, "Let's go down the pub."
Yeah.
The workplace blows up, and he's like, "Yeah, let's go down the pub and get that." I know for the like Rose and the Doctor, it's not actually been that while, but for Mickey and Jackie, it's been a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Exactly.
really like that. It shows that he's matured. He now knows how to deal with a bad situation, and he's just like, "Oh, let's get you a cup of tea," And I really like that. I thought that was very good writing. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I think,
So
honestly, what's so good about these first few seasons, this Russell's era, is the character arcs and the family dynamics. They're all done so well. Mickey has a great arc. Even Jackie has a really good arc. By the end of season 2, what we'll do is at the end of every series, we'll do like a series rundown. But yeah, series 1 and 2 are very much sort of like one big story. And yeah, it'd be really interesting to get your thoughts at the end of it as to how everybody does develop as a character. Yeah, I think it is like
yeah,
you can already see the seeds of it. It's amazing. It genuinely is amazing.
yeah, no, I like that. It was really, really good writing. It was just like it was something subtle. It's not blindingly obvious, but just something subtle like that. And sometimes with writing, small things go long. Yeah, they go a long
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah.
I really like that. The next thing I wrote down, of course, they're there in the locked conference room. Which, by the way, Something I thought as well. Two things. One, unsurprisingly, couldn't find anything. Yeah, whether the conference room in number 10 Downing Street has these big metal shutters. I think I'm now probably on some kind of watch list because Googling security at number 10 Downing Street, not the wisest thing in the world. And that van that's been parked outside my house for a week now is, kind of starting to scare me. It's not moved. Yeah. But the
Reckon it
thing that
is?
did
Do you
make me
reckon it
laugh,
is shielded?
I don't know. See, part of me thinks yes, but then part of me thinks they've probably got a bunker instead.
Yeah, I think probably they've got a bunker, right? That how would
Mm.
they manage that? We'd have noticed as well. We'd have seen the construction happening, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's still an old building. I know it's been modernized inside, but I think they've got like a bunker in the basement or something like
Yeah.
that. That's the way I'd see it. That'd be the most logical way. But the thing that really made me laugh though is, of course, they're there. They're coming up with a plan, and of course, Rose and the Doctor start cracking a few jokes about the situation, and Harriet Jones turns around to them and she goes, "Now's not the time to be making jokes." And all I thought then at the time was the amount of memes that flooded the internet when that submarine went missing at the Titanic. And I was just like, she would love it now. She'd
Yeah,
just like,
well,
something tragic happens and the internet is just like memes, funny
yeah.
memes. It's just like, yeah, okay. It's nice to know that the world hasn't changed in nearly 20 years. It's just that it's now majority on the internet.
No,
But
you're
yeah,
right.
so
Well,
that's,
and that's again, that speaks like that is so her character as well. It comes up again in a couple, or in a few episodes, or whenever it is she's next in it. But
yeah,
yeah,
no, I like that.
that actually becomes a point of contention between her and the Doctor as well, which is quite interesting. So just keep your eye on that one as well.
Yeah, no, of course. The next thing I've got, I actually think I may have, and again, maybe looking into this too far, but I think I've worked out what the Easter egg is.
Go on.
So in Mickey's room, of course, they're there looking at Unit, and somehow they managed to get onto Unit through Mickey's computer. But on his wall, there are two drawings of like he's obviously got like a kind of almost like a spider chart kind of thing, but there's two pictures, like two hand-drawn pictures of the TARDIS.
Right.
Is that saying there's more than one Doctor?
Oh no,
That's
no,
no.
it isn't.
Damn.
No.
I tell you what, I'd have put money on that was it because I'd like genuinely there was like two hand drawn pictures of the TARDIS, and I'm sitting there thinking, is there more than one like Time Lord or Doctor or anything like that? And that's the kind of the thing. And I was like, oh, I wonder if there's been like subtle hints at doubles or anything like that. But oh, okay, I'm really annoyed about it. I genuinely thought that was it.
You're getting closer, but still no cigar, mate. Um,
Damn.
no,
Well, that kind of puts a hole in the boat. But
just keep your eyes
the
peeled. You're definitely getting closer.
okay. We're getting there. All right. We'll have a look at the next episode and see what it is. Um, Sirius Eccleston. Oh, we had a serious Christopher Eccleston Doctor
God, he's
in.
brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah, kind of. It was just like you go from making these jokes literally in the space of like kind of 10, 15 minutes. The Doctor's making jokes, having a laugh, and then it's just bang serious. And I've got to say that was a kind of it's a massive juxtaposition to kind of in that 15 minutes. And I think that's what as you say, I think that's why Christopher Eccleston got the role as the Doctor because you need someone that is going to be light-hearted and very quirky, very jumps all around and everything like that. But then there's also going to be serious things as well, like when he's talking about the Time War and everything like that. I really like that. I think that was quite it, it stopped the episode dead, but for a good reason.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
He's
which
he's
which I liked.
brilliant. He is. Yeah. I mean, it just shows you his acting chops. He's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, then they discover how to kind of, kill the Slovene, and yeah, pit a lot kind of vinegar. Very interesting. It's an
I
interesting
love
way.
that exchange. Narrows it down. Narrows it down. Narrows it down.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's just they're trying to work out, and it's just I love it because everything that Rose and Harriet Jones said was actually relevant. The Doctor wasn't taking the piss. He was genuinely narrowing it down,
Yeah.
which I just think is phenomenal. And it just shows you, I mean, I know he's an alien, but it just shows you how vast his knowledge is of everything.
Yeah.
Which is just phenomenal.
No,
I
no,
love
it's
it. I,
very
I
good.
really do.
I would be
Um,
fucked because I don't have any vinegar in my house.
You don't have vinegar in your house.
Don't have vinegar in the house. Vinegar is actually
Mm.
hard to come by in Dubai, to be fair, especially malt
What
vinegar.
on, what on earth do you put in your chips in?
Well, I don't have chips.
Oh, you have dry chips.
No,
Oh, well, you don't have chips in general.
I don't. The only time I ever get chips is if I do takeaway, and then it comes seasoned anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. God, you need to come back to the UK, man. Fish and chips with a bit of vinegar and salt on the chips as well. Unbelievable. It is just, that is British cuisine at its finest there. But
I do
I'm
disagree.
kidding, by the way. But yeah, no, vinegar. No, I got vinegar in the house. I wouldn't have it as easy readable, like kind of, as easy accessible as they, did. It just made me laugh that she went into and that was the other thing as well. Mickey's like, I've got no vinegar in the house. And Rose is like, yeah, it's on the cupboard
Yeah,
on
I
the left,
love
third shelf
that.
down. It really made me laugh. I was
And
just
she
like,
hasn't
okay,
been
fair
there
enough.
for a year as well. It's brilliant.
Yeah. But it made me laugh. They made a little cocktail, and then the Slovene exploded.
Grim, grim, grim,
Lovely.
grim.
Because you see like a chunk of what I'm assuming is supposed to be flesh, like land on the wall.
Yeah.
Looking back at it, I'm not even kidding. It looked like they'd got noodles that they'd cooked up to make them soft, and then they put a load of green, like kind of food color in them, and just slapped them against the wall, and then gone, that's alien. Like, yeah, and which it just made me laugh. I was just like, I'm pretty sure that's green colored noodles, like blue milk in Star Wars,
Yeah,
green
yeah, same
noodles.
thing, innit? Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, no, I like that. I thought that was really funny. That made me laugh. Um, but yeah, no, I think that was, and then of course they end the episode by blowing up number 10 Downing Street. Not sure quite how that deals with, whether that was something that was supposed to happen or not, but it's happened now in the history of the UK, so that's it. Do I think that the way that that the Doctor solved this crisis was the most Doctor way of doing it? I don't think so. I felt like there probably could have been a bit more of a
A
not
clever
intelligent way,
exit.
like salute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, rather than just going, oh, we're just going to launch a missile at the building we're in, and I was just like, it didn't really seem very Doctor Who-esque. You look at episode three. Episode three was solved through science with Charles Dickens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Episode two, well, I suppose episode two was solved by sacrifice and the Doctor kind of playing a kind of murder, like mystery thing. But it just didn't seem the most Doctor way of doing things. But that's what he did, and that's it really. So,
That's a very
um,
good point, to be fair. That's a very good point. Like, yeah, when you think about it, last week, he didn't really come up with the solution himself. Episode two, okay, he kind of did, but it was more just sort of actually someone else sacrificed himself for him. The first
yeah,
episode, Rose comes in and saves the day.
yeah. I don't know. It just seems like to me, I feel like the Doctor is he takes the more Star Trek approach. Never shoot first, just ask questions. That kind of violence isn't the answer. It's a solution that I don't want. And I don't know. I know they were obviously the bad guys, but I just did they deserve to be, blown into oblivion? Maybe not. I don't know. It was the way it ended. But again, that was a very weird way. The reasoning of the Slovene why they did everything. They were just like, yeah, we just want to sell off the planet.
Yeah. But that would
Um,
probably happen. Do you know what? Like, if Elon Musk and, fucking Mark Zuckerberg started traveling the world, do you not think they'd be doing the same thing? They'd be selling off planets to make a profit?
Well, I mean, like I did look at the whole. Ooh, I'm gonna get this wrong now. I think it's Nestle, the kind of chocolate makers. I think it's Nestle, and there's this thing that's been going on for years where there's been like kind of there's been questions over how they get the land and how they maintain the land to make chocolate and other bits and pieces. And I did kind of think of that. It's kind of almost like instead of planet Earth is the Amazon rainforest or something. It's something like that. And it was just like, but. I don't know, it's a bit far fetched for my liking, but it is what it is. It still worked. I do think it was a lot better ending than episode three because I feel like episode three was just a cop out. That's it, done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the way it ended. But yeah, and then of course they have a very emotional part at the end with Mickey, Rose's mum, Rose, and the Doctor, where Rose's mum is just like, "Don't go," and she's like, want to. This is what I have to do. This is what I'm
Yeah.
here to do. Which again was very sweet, and I feel, and again, actually, I really liked the interaction between the Doctor and Mickey
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah. They have a
throughout the
really good relationship
yeah
throughout.
throughout the episode, or sorry, episode 4, the Doctor keeps calling him Ricky instead of Mickey.
Yeah.
Which of course winds, as it would, if someone kept calling your name wrong deliberately, it would wind you up. And it's the fact that
Especially if the
he said,
girls just run off with him as well. Definitely.
yeah, and it's the fact that Mickey has a lot of balls to actually be honest with the Doctor and say, look, I don't want to do that, because let's
Yeah.
be real, who would want to do that? All right, it's a cool thing, but it's dangerous. You're potentially dangerous. So fair play to Mickey for actually being honest and going, not saying I'm interested in it at all. And then fair play for the Doctor, just without no kind of cue or anything like that, just going, yeah, you can't come, not enough
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. I love that. I actually, again, like I did watch the ending of this, so I totally forgot that that was this episode. But yeah, fair play. You can clearly see that, yeah, that they're becoming, even though they're not companions, they're extended companions, they're extended family. And the Doctor
Yeah.
doesn't want to admit it, but does have a lot of time for it.
Yeah, no, I like that. I thought it was very good. I think it's just a nice touch. It is a nice touch. But the final note I made on this episode was a bit of a kind of a dark humor thing, because the whole thing about where Rose is going to her mum, look, don't worry, I'll be back in 10 of your seconds, and
Yeah.
I'll have had all these adventures and everything like that. And of course, they phase off, and then kind of Rose's mum and Mickey are stood there, and she's on the watch, and she's looking, and she's like, oh, there's 10 seconds up. I just thought, imagine they just come back and they're just like, they're covered in like blood or something like that, and then just like, it's all gone wrong. Like, it just would have made me laugh, to be
He
honest.
just
But
walks out carrying Rose's decapitated body or something.
it just like an arm or something. It's just like, yeah, no, things went a bit sideways. Yeah, this happened 6 years in, but yeah, so that was that. Let's wrap up, because I know this has been a very, very long episode, and thank you for listening. If you're still listening, thank you for
I
sticking
do
with
have a
us.
few miscellaneous notes that I would like to say.
Okay.
Um, I have just go through my notes now. Oh yeah, so the Doctor asks Rose, "Who's the Prime Minister?" And her response is, "I don't know. I've missed a year." Prime
Yeah.
ministers tend to be in power with more than 1 year. But then I did think, actually, if that was 2022, Boris
Mm-hmm.
Johnson, Theresa May, Rishi, you probably wouldn't know what
Yep. Yep.
prime minister it was. Do you know
We,
what
we
I mean?
we went through kind of prime ministers the rate that some people changed their bed sheets.
Yeah.
That kind of period. It was just like it was just like, huh, okay, new prime minister. That was it. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
What else have I got? Ah, so the female Slovene, Margaret, I think her name is, the blonde one.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I was getting. You've seen the Harry Potter films, right?
I have.
You know,
Oh, I know who you're gonna say.
go on.
Is it Umbridge, Dolores
Yes,
Umbridge or
yes,
something?
yeah.
As soon as you said that, I was like, I couldn't quite put my finger on it, and I was like, yeah, no, actually, no, now you say that, it was her. That very kind of like
That like
ah,
sweet sort of nastiness to her. Yeah, I really was getting those sort of vibes, to be fair.
yeah, like that really like kind of psychotic smile that they do, like that kind
Yes,
of
yes.
not a Joker smile, but that kind of thing. You're just like, oh, you're really mean. Yeah, no, I get that. I saw that. Yeah.
Um, and then the best line I think of all Doctor Who in episode 4: "Do you mind not farting whilst I'm saving the world?"
Yeah.
It's
Again,
class.
completely out of context, no idea what happened, but he's brilliant, isn't it? And again, that's the slapstick that I was talking about.
Yeah,
It does work, and yeah, for me, I found it hilarious. But and as a kid, you probably would find it funny as well. But it did seem like they were playing on that quite a bit,
yeah,
which I do think might have turned some serious people off. Which, at the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I didn't
yeah.
think it would have been the reason to make it the worst rated episode of this season. But look, as I said, everyone's themselves.
Exactly, mate. So, love it or hate it, JP?
Both of them love it. Even though, again, like like episode 3, there were minor things, but they were only minor things. I think the overall episodes, but both episodes, very good. Yeah, love it. What about yourself, Josh?
Agree with you, mate. Even though I lost interest with it, it's still they are some of my favorite episodes of this series, and I think that's probably why I've seen them so many times. But yeah, absolutely love it. But that brings us on to the next time. Um, I know you're obviously quite excited about it. I saw your notes on
I
this.
am. Yeah, yeah. No, we always share our notes in between, kind of like, before we start recording. And all I've put down, and I will literally kind of read exactly what I've put. I put next episode, Naked Doctor, Tank Top Rose, Daleks, I'm in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is gun ho. And again, this got criticized for revealing the Daleks ahead of time, but
Okay.
I think you're doing it to a new audience.
Yeah.
Um, I don't see an issue with it. It got me bloody hyped for it. I didn't know what the Daleks were at the time. I think my parents must have mentioned them, oh, the Daleks coming back or something like that. And I was like, what
Yeah.
are the Daleks? But yeah, mate, this next time is awesome. And the next episode, I'm happy to spoil it now, is one of the best of all Doctor Who.
I'm to be honest, I'm psyched for it. I can't wait. I just watching, and again, it's very difficult because we've a few Marvel movies. Big fan of the Marvel movies. You watch the trailers and they're not quite what they're cracked up to be, but this looks good, and I'm excited. I really am excited. I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to take notes on it, and of course, can't wait to speak about it next week.
Yeah, no, it should be good. Well, that pretty much wraps us up for now. So again, thanks everyone for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, interact with us, ask us questions and everything. But we're very grateful that you're still here. Thank you very much. And yeah, anything to else, Jay? Anything to add, Jake?
No, that's it. We'll catch you next week, and yeah, I can't wait.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Adios, amigos.